Welcome in, Mountaineer Nation. Let me ask you a question. Who's the team we all love to hate? Of course, it's the Pitt Panthers, and we're going to talk about them a lot tonight. We're going to go over their depth, who they've got returning, who they've lost, and what we think will happen this year in the backyard brawl. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Well, how about that, man? I played the wrong intro, but that's okay. I guess I'll just play Mark Rogers tonight. Hey, welcome in, everybody. I'm Joey Foster, and I've got a great guest with me tonight. Everybody knows him. It's Jordan. Everybody knows him as Talkers Pitt. What's going on, Jordan?
How are you doing, Joey? How's everything going tonight?
I'm doing great. Y'all still eating shit up here at Pitt?
Well, you guys still eating shit down there and wherever you guys are?
Yeah, man, I tell you what. All right, so let's see. Year before last, you and I were supposed to meet in Pittsburgh, go to the backyard brawl. You chickened out. You said you was afraid that y'all would lose, and me and Golden Blue Dude would rag you and stuff or something like that. I don't remember what your whiny ass excuse was, but you didn't show up for the game. No, that's right. You had to work. But now last year, neither one of us got to go. I think both of us are both planning on being there this year, though, aren't we?
Yeah, that's one of the games that I plan on going. I go to 3 games a year, and or at least I try to. Last year I was only able to go to 1, but I'm definitely going to the backyard brawl. I'm not going to miss it twice in a row in Pittsburgh. I'm not doing that. Then going to the season opener, and then probably going to go to the Clemson game.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about your schedule tonight because Pitt's got a pretty easy schedule. Probably your toughest games are West Virginia and Clemson, to be honest with you.
Agree.
And so, but yeah, so let me ask you a question because I know we talked last year before the season started, and I'm going to let everybody know in the comments section. We're going to drop the link tonight. This is going to be a call-in show. This is just for fun, guys. I want you guys to call in, come in here, talk some crap to Talkers Pitt, or talk about how good Pitt's going to be this year. I don't care. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about this backyard brawl business because Pitt has dominated the series overall, right? But probably since the 80s, West Virginia has dominated the series and things. Pitt kind of fell off. After the 70s, Pitt kind of fell back. And what happened to Pitt back then? I mean, I can't figure out because you guys were so good. Y'all were the Alabamas and Georgias of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And then like in the 80s, you just disappeared. What happened?
Well, the 80s, actually, I don't want to say we were as dominant as we were in the 70s and in the 60s and the 50s, but we didn't suck the way we started to once the 90s came around. That's when things really started going bad. When we went from an independent to the Big East, I'm not exactly sure if that was the beginning of our downfall or if it was an administrative decision. Basically, I think one of the coaches left in the 90s and everybody else left with him, and for whatever reason the coaching staff after that just couldn't get the players to buy into their philosophy and whatnot. It's like once that one coach left, that's when Pitt lost its identity. And it's not Johnny Majors. I can't remember the coach's name for whatever, Joey, off the top of my head.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you who you're probably thinking about because it's the only time I ever cried over a Pitt team, and that's because Walt Harris was not your coach anymore. I loved it when Walt Harris was your coach.
Yeah. Once Walt Harris left, that's when everything went to crap. In my opinion, we were 5 in the 80s.
Walt Harris was there. I think it was while Walt Harris was there. You got your team kind of started going to crap. I can remember those games. like vividly, and we just kind of like dominated those teams. I mean, those games were not even that close. Walt
No, they
Harris
weren't.
was not that good of a coach at all. But then,
I,
then we get Don Nealon retires. We hire Mitch Rodriguez. We go through a bad season, obviously, when you change coaches. Then we turn it around and start picking up where we left off with Don Nealon and start dominating college football and winning a lot of games and stuff. And you guys come in there and you know the rest of the story there. 2007 just kind of kind of hurt. I mean, it really did. That was just a bad
the,
way to go.
that I know that was 17 years ago, but I think what that did in 2007 to West Virginia it did more to harm West Virginia than it did to help Pitt, because from 2007 up until 2021 we didn't really do anything.
Right.
And I bet, honestly, I think the players may have gotten it in over their heads that they were a little bit too drunk from that 2007 win. Now, we did beat you guys again in 2008, which I'm still trying to figure out how that happened again.
Well, we went once again in 2008. A new coach, Bill Stewart, his first year.
That is right, 2008.
Yeah.
Was I at
So,
that backyard brawl? It was no, I wasn't at
that
2000.
one
Yeah, I was
that
at
one was
2008.
Pitt. Yeah, 2008.
Yeah, I was at the
Pitt.
2008 one.
Yeah.
But it's just like, honestly, Joe, it's like the Roman Empire with Pitt. We were good from day one up until the 80s, and then we just fell.
Yeah, you did. I'm looking for something, and you might have it and be able to share the screen. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's just do it this way. I can do it this way. I want to bring up your schedule for this year because I want people out there to see just how easy of a schedule this is.
It's an easy schedule, and I even said that last year well before Cal, Stanford, and SMU were even announced to be a part of the ACC expansion. Even before this schedule came out, I would honestly say the schedule before the expansion that was out was even easier than this one.
So
this is an easy schedule.
Your blue gold game is April the 13th, and you'll be lucky if you can win that one. August 31st. I mean, this is ridiculous. Kent State, and then the next week, Cincinnati. That's not anybody. Then you got a tough one, West Virginia. Then you got Youngstown State, which is ridiculous. A bye week. North Carolina, who has lost their quarterback, lost a lot of their players. I think they're going to be down. They'll still be a decent team, but I think you guys can beat them. Then we got Cal. I mean, come on, it's Cal. Then another bye week. Then Syracuse. I mean, good gosh, it's Syracuse. SMU, who's coming over from a group of 5, finally becoming a Power 5. First year, we know what happens to first-year Power 5 programs. We've seen it last year in Cincinnati, UCF, Houston, and BYU. They were horrible.
No. Except James Madison.
Well, James Madison's not Power 5. They haven't played a Power 5 schedule.
Not yet.
Okay, so then you got Virginia. Virginia's always one of those teams. You never know what's going to happen, but they're usually stuck. Then Clemson. Clemson obviously going to be a tough game. Louisville obviously going to be a tough game. Louisville pretty good this past year. Played for the ACC championship. Didn't win it, but I think they lose quite a bit of production. And then Boston College, and Boston College sucks. So you've got 3 tough games: Louisville, Clemson, and West Virginia on your schedule. That's basically it. And so your first test, Saturday, September 14th, West Virginia. We gotta talk about that game because You know, you and I talked about it last night. We text back and forth probably for an hour and a half until finally called each other to talk about it. You know, West Virginia is not losing anybody. We're just not. We've got pretty much our entire offense returning. We lost Zach Frazier, our center, going in the NFL, but his backup is really, really good and played a lot of snaps this past year. And so we're not going to lose a lot of production there. We also still have Wyatt Milam, who is going to be an All-American, who is an All-American, and is going to be an all-conference player. You know, he's our tackle, our left tackle. And, you know, he's charged with protecting Garrett Green back there. Hey, who only got sacked 3 times last year? Garrett Green's an amazing scrambling quarterback. We've got an amazing offensive line that can block for him. We've got some good wide receivers. Not only that, but we got the best 1-2 punch in college football in C.J. Donaldson and Jaheim White in the backfield. Now tell me something, Hawkins Pitt. How do you plan to stop that running game that was number 4 in the country last year? And remember, they were all freshmen and sophomores, and they were still number 4 in the country last year. How do you plan to stop them when they all return this year and probably going to be number 1 in the country in rushing?
Well, for starters, we have to contain your quarterback. And I like how you did mention that West Virginia only gave up 3 sacks last year. Who got most of those sacks?
It doesn't matter who got most of the sacks.
Well, who got most of those sacks?
Pitt got 2 of them.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're talking about, you know, that I think they were both on Nico. I don't think they all got to Garrett Green.
No, we got to Garrett Green. He got injured on that sack.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was the play he got injured on. I could be wrong, but I know we got to Garrett Green once because I looked on. So it says, I wrote it down here actually. Nico was 6'4", 60 yards, 1 touchdown, sacked once, fumbled, 9 carries, -5 yards.
Yeah.
Garrett Green, and this has to be wrong, but I'm only going off of what ESPN is telling me. Garrett Green was 0 for 2. No touchdowns, no interceptions. That has to be wrong.
Yeah, that's wrong.
That has to be wrong. That's what ESPN is going off of, guys. That's not me. And I've even admitted that doesn't sound right. But yeah, sacked 1 time and was injured on the next, and was injured that play.
So y'all have.
So we can get to your quarterback. And I went back and looked at the game to see when those sacks came about. They were both on White.
Both on
They were both on White. So we can get around him. Your other guys, we can't. We have a pretty difficult time getting through the trenches, plugging up the middle. But if you ask me, what do we have to do to stop that running game? Well, the simple answer is stop the running game.
Well,
now,
I have a feeling that nobody's going to stop that running game of West Virginia this year. The thing about it is, even if you stop C.J. Donaldson, that's just the size, and you know he's a little bit slower than anybody else back there. So yeah, maybe you could stop C.J. Donaldson, but then when they put White in and they get that speed around the edge or that speed busting through the middle, people start whipping on him. And not only that, but you fake it to him, and Garrett Green carries it around the edge, you know, and there's speed there with Garrett Green. So
exactly.
Our running game is a 3-headed monster. It might as well be a wishbone.
Oh well, definitely. I'm not going to disagree with you guys on that. You guys are much more talented as far as the running game is concerned. Now, but you also have to realize this. You guys were more talented at us in 2022, and we still beat you, even with the running game. And that's even with you guys absolutely picking apart our secondary. And you still
Well, you
have
say we
a
were more
good.
talented. You say we were
Oh
more
yeah,
talented. I
in
don't know
2000.
about that. I don't
Well,
know
in
about that.
2022, I still think you guys were more talented because your offensive line was better. You quarterback play to me is even. I think you
Yeah,
can evenly.
We both had 5-star quarterbacks that were really good.
Yeah, so quarterback play was definitely even. So offensively, it was even. Defensively, to me, I think you guys were better at creating pressures, defending the pass a little bit. And the thing about 2022, what your problem was not necessarily the play calling that Neil Brown produced. It was just inconsistency and injuries really did not help your defense at all. And also, it didn't help that you guys had to. I don't want to say usher in a new defense, but usher in a new secondary, if that makes sense. Like your defensive line, you guys, I believe, had everybody back from the year prior. But
Well,
that's 2022. It's possible. It's possible for us to beat West Virginia because you can throw any stat out there that you guys want to. It doesn't matter. It's a rivalry game. This game means more to us than us winning the ACC.
well, yeah, well, now I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't mean more to us than us winning the Big 12, but it does mean a lot.
It does. We've already
Because the
won the
backyard brawl,
ACC.
yeah, the backyard brawl is always one of the biggest games, and so we've got 2 more years of it, and then we're going to have to take a little hiatus, and I think we start it back up again in 2028. Am I right?
Yeah, what I don't understand is how Pitt in West Virginia can schedule it now with a 4-game skid. Then we have to not play for a couple of years and then start back up again. But then you can schedule all these basketball backyard brawls 30 years down the line.
Right, right.
Like
Yeah, I know.
nobody cares about basketball. I know you guys do, but we're not a basketball school. We never were, even when we were good. You guys can have the backyard brawl in basketball. I would compare the backyard brawl in basketball to your guys' rivalry with Marshall in football. There isn't one.
Well,
There
we've
just
always
isn't.
been a better basketball program than you guys, right?
Oh,
West Virginia
definitely.
for years, West Virginia was considered and still is really considered a basketball school. And playing in the Big
I
12, playing in the Big 12,
yeah
obviously we are. So,
yeah. In my opinion, right now, West Virginia is more of a basketball school than it is a football school, but it's dead even almost. And as far as the fan bases, the entertainment, the implications, stuff like that. It's just, I just wish that both schools would have thought this through before they started rescheduling things. Like, how can you not have Pitt and West Virginia playing every single year?
yeah, it was a shame, when we went to the Big 12. What was really a shame, though, was that the ACC didn't bring in West Virginia. That was the crime. And now the ACC is really paying for that because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if the ACC is going to be around 2 years from now. And I
It
think you
will.
have to agree with me. You think it will
Uh,
be?
it's Here's the thing. Now, what the ACC did that the Pac-12 didn't do was the ACC didn't take all the time it possibly could have, like the Pac-12 did. It took too much time, and that time ran out. Now,
Yeah, but
even
here's the
if,
problem. Here's the problem. You went out and expanded. You went out and expanded. You grabbed a few
uh-huh.
teams. Problem is the money is going to be the same. And Florida State wants more money. Miami
Well,
wants
yeah,
more money. Clemson wants more money. What are you going to do?
Well, here's the thing: SMU's not going to get any revenue for the next 8 years. No
For sure.
ACC revenue, none.
But,
Cal and Stanford are in the same
but
boat.
still, but same thing. Florida State's not going to get any more revenue either. Neither is Clemson. That's the
Well, see, here's
problem.
it. Well, Clemson, I can understand because up until last year, Clemson carried the conference. Now, the thing with Florida State is, did they get screwed out of the national title picture? Absolutely. However, the way Florida State handled it by getting their butt whooped in what bowl game was that?
It was against Georgia, the Peach Bowl, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they didn't handle it the way they were supposed to by getting their butt whooped in the Peach Bowl, and also Florida State has committed a couple of recruiting violations within that time frame. Now, recruiting violations that could be from, oh my god, I took a kid to lunch, to handing a
Because I
kid
gave him a
money.
bag of money. Yeah, it could be I gave him a bag of money, or it could be, hey, the kid needed to borrow you $1. You don't know.
Yeah, I
One,
I
one
don't
more thing
exactly
too.
know.
I want to say this real quick because when you said that, it reminded me. I've seen today Deion Sanders, Colorado's in a little bit of trouble. They have self-reported some violations in the transfer portal last year. So they're going to have some investigations coming up at Colorado, which is going to
Oh
hurt them.
my. Oh, it definitely. But to get back a little bit back on track, I actually got to write that down because that's a new video idea. So Florida State. See, here's the thing. I'm not going to lie. It will hurt if Florida State and Clemson leave the ACC. Absolutely, it's going to hurt because there's our two biggest money makers left in the conference. Here's the but I don't think that would.
I think we lost you. You there, Pitt? I think we lost him. I believe we lost him for a second. While we lost him, let me go ahead and welcome everybody in. Be sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We do videos nearly every day of the week, Monday through Friday. We have shows. But I want to welcome in Timothy Green. Thank you for being here. Always first one in. Kelly McCourt's always number 2 right behind him. Sometimes one of these times, Kelly's going to beat Timothy Green to the punch. Jackson Johnson, who's also waiting in our back room, wanting to come in. Sorgy Stories is also here. Let's get rid of this one right here. See, you back with us?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It says you've been kicked from the room.
Huh? I didn't kick you, man. I promise. I don't like Pitt, but you're okay, I guess. I'll let you stay around a little bit. I'm telling everybody
Better than John Waffle.
But we got Jackson Johnson in here, and he's also in the back room waiting to come in here in just a second, which I have opened up the lines. I've dropped the link if anybody would like to call in. Sorgy Stories, welcome in. I don't know if that's going to be Anthony or his father with us, but
I know who that is. Oh, Sorgy.
Yeah. Oh, Sorgy Stories.
Yeah, we're both Packer fans. That's why we get along.
And yo, Traveling Pools in here with us. Appreciate you, Traveling Pools, as always, being in here. So let's see what our first caller wants to say here. Mr. Jackson Johnson. What's going on, Jackson?
Oh, it's going pretty good, gents. How's it going with you guys tonight?
Good.
It's going good. It's going good. We can't complain.
We're just like, this is the dead period of the year, right? There's absolutely hardly anything to talk about because transfer portals closed. Right. Not a lot. I mean, you have a little bit of movement here and there, but nothing of major significance. You don't have any reports coming out of your football program on how good people are progressing or whatever. You have very little of that. Not a lot to talk about. So we thought, great night to just sit and talk about the backyard brawl, the history of it, what it means to everybody. I'd like people to call in, let us know your fondest memory of the backyard brawl. What was your favorite game overall or whatever? Jackson, I know you're a Bama fan, but I know you're a college football fan and always watch the Backyard Brawl, I'm sure.
Oh, plenty of it, man. Plenty of it. I loved the '08 one, the '09 one, '07, and last year's matchup. I was so excited about it that I saw one of the Wolfley brothers on ABC Saturday night, for the halftime. I thought that was pretty cool. Seeing all
Probably
the
Craig or Ron. Maybe Ron. Well, no, I'd say it's probably Craig Wolfley.
Yeah, it was definitely Craig, but it was pretty cool seeing all the Pitt legends and the West Virginia legends there. 2022, when it came back, it was pretty awesome. I just wish that Pittsburgh, Penn State could play each other annually, and Pitt, West Virginia could play annually as well. That would be pretty cool.
Pitt, I don't know if you paid attention or not, but Pitt's not going to be scheduling Penn State. Did you look at that schedule? I mean, that's a
yes, I
schedule.
did.
That's the easiest schedule in the country. It's got to be for any Power 5 team. I mean, we know Pitt. They wimp out of everything. So they wimped out, and then they went out there and they scheduled Youngstown State and Kent State, and I guess they got scared. They knew they was going to lose to West Virginia. They figured they better have a couple of victories to make up for it and make their record look good. Am I right, Talking Spit? Am I hitting right on the mark there?
No, not even close. I mean, to be honest, though, about the schedule.
I guess you're going to tell us how tough that schedule is.
Well, that wasn't even our original out-of-conference schedule for last year and the year before, or this year too. If you bring that up, we were supposed to play Marshall last year for our out-of-conference schedule, and they chickened out. I don't know why, but they backed out. So that's actually how we even got Cincinnati in the first place. So to be honest,
at this point right now, because Cincinnati just came into Power 5 last year, is there really a difference between Marshall and Cincinnati right now? Honestly, I don't.
I think
Marshall might be better.
I think Marshall could throttle Cincinnati, to be honest. Now, throttle Cincinnati by how much, that's up to Marshall. But I still think Cincinnati would end up losing to Marshall. I mean, hell, Marshall's done something in the past 10 years we haven't done, and that's beat Notre Dame.
Time down here. Anybody like to call in? We'd love to have you. Yeah, I want to hear about your fondest memory. But yeah, you're. I'm just picking on you, Jordan. You know that. All right, Jack.
It's all right.
So your favorite
it's
games,
a backyard brawl.
Your favorite games, obviously, yeah, the 2007s and 8s, 9s. Those games were really good. Let me ask you a question though. This year, I don't know if you've looked at what Pitt's got returning and what's going on there, and West Virginia's got returning and what's going on there. But who do you think wins this game this year, and by how much?
Oh, that's a good question. That's more of a question I'll definitely know more about in July. But if I had to pick, oh man, it's at Heinz Field. It's kind of a toss-up, but I would go with Pitt at least for now. But that can change.
Okay, so now let's think about this. Let's think about this for a second, Jackson. West Virginia won 9 games last year. They were projected to win 4, right? Vegas had them at 4. Big 12 had them finish, or the Big 12 media had us finish in 14th in the conference. We finished 4th in the conference. 9 wins, including a bowl victory where we throttled North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Now, we didn't lose anybody but Zach Frazier, our center.
Sure.
And guess what? His backup is just as good. So we're returning all that production.
Ooh.
Everybody's back. And we don't lose anybody. We lost a couple of players in the transfer portal off of defense, but we got some great transfers in out of the portal. Probably better than what left us, to be honest with you. So I don't know why you would think Pitt could even remotely win this game. I just think, and I'm not being a homer, I swear, West
Right.
Virginia is just a far better team this year. I really believe we'll win the Big 12 this year. I really believe West Virginia will win the Big 12 this year. Probably make the playoffs since it's a 12-team playoff. That's my prediction. I'm going to stand by it all the way through because we're not going to lose anybody. Even after spring ball, all of our players are committed to us. They've all signed their NIL deals. They're all happy. They're all staying. They're going nowhere. So, and you think about that team, how young it was, because it was full of freshmen, sophomores, and a couple of juniors. It's still young. And now we're bringing them in, and now they're sophomores, juniors, and a few seniors. So for the next couple of years, West Virginia is going to be really good. We've got one of the best. We've got one of the top 15 returning quarterbacks. As a matter of fact, I will show this to you right here. Top 15 college quarterbacks next season. You can see number 15 there, Garrett Green, West Virginia, returning. I just do not see how Pitt can win this game come next year. I just think we will dominate them. I think we beat them by 2 scores. I don't think it's even a game.
Well, Joe, you have to factor in it's a rivalry game. Your stats mean absolutely nothing. Who you have coming back mean nothing. It's a rivalry game.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that it's a rivalry game. But it's always been a rivalry game. And always when West Virginia's been the more talented team, we've beaten you guys by 2 scores.
You can not always. Matter of fact, when you guys, after 2008, when you guys beat us 3 years in a row, you never won those games by more than 3 points. The matter of fact, 2011, that was won on the last second field goal. In 2000, and I know this is old, but 2007, that's the perfect example.
Okay,
the perfect example.
Let's look back here. All right, so in West Virginia, 1988, West Virginia beat you 31-10.
I wasn't alive yet.
And we had a great team, right? Let's see this one. How about 1992? We had another great team. We beat you 44-6. About 93, we beat you 42-21. We were undefeated that year. And how about 95? We beat you 21-0. How about 96? We beat you 34-0. How about 98? We beat you 52-14. How about 99? We beat you 52-21. And it goes on down through here. 2003, we beat you 52-31 as well. In 2005, we beat you 45-13. We have dominated you and beat you by double digits every time we've had a lot of returning starters and been the better talented program. And we are the more talented program this year, without a doubt. We have the more talent returning between the two teams.
Yeah, but Joey, that's 30, 40 years ago. That's not even relevant to this day. You guys,
all right, let's go. Well, then, okay, you're right. That's 30, 40 years ago.
You guys,
let's look at 2010. 2010, we beat you 35-10. Last year we beat you 17-6. Last year we beat you 17-6. That's a double-digit win.
Yeah, but it's not a win you should brag about. I mean, let's take a look at how bad you guys.
It's a rivalry game. You're the one that says it's a rivalry game. 17-6
it is,
a rivalry game.
Let's also not lie about how bad you guys really were in that game. Let's not lie about that game because I have exactly those stats sitting right in front of me. Okay, so here we go.
We were bad, but we still beat you.
Yeah. Total yards, West Virginia, 211. 3.4 yards per play. Pitt, 211. 3.9 yards per play. You guys completed less than 100 yards passing in that game. We actually had more passing yards in that game. Our quarterback, as bad as he was, outperformed both your quarterbacks combined, minus the interception. We actually had more third down conversions than West Virginia. So, I mean, 17-6, I'll give you guys the win. Don't get me wrong. But It was 7-6 into the fourth quarter. That game was boring.
That's why it's football. The fourth quarter is when games are won, right?
Oh
Fourth
yeah,
quarter is
everybody
when
knows
you
that.
see-
Even back in the
Fourth
day.
quarter is when you see who's the better team, right? Because
Oh yeah, back in the day, that's how it was.
Yeah, any Power
You know?
5 program could stick with a Power 5 program through the first half and maybe even halfway through the third quarter. But then they get tired. They started getting more out. And that's what happened to Pitt last year. Our size, our strength, and our talent just wore you out, and we beat you. And this
definitely.
year, everybody returns. This year, we don't lose anybody. They're all back. You guys have lost.
Joey, you can bring whoever you want. You could even bring the left-handed God for all I care. But if you think for 1 second that West Virginia is going to roll over Pitt, it's not going to happen. It won't happen. And
remember that score I read a while ago, 54-17? It would not surprise me a bit if that's the score this year.
Don't get me wrong. Jaheim White's a good player, but he didn't play against us last year. There's not one registered carry he had against us. So he's your biggest unknown. He's somebody that I don't want to say we don't expect to see on the field or see coming or even see having a good game. I expect you guys to have 100-yard receivers in that game. I expect you guys that.
I think what I laugh about is a lot of times people will look and say, well, you didn't even have 1,000-yard rusher last year. What are you talking about? Y'all got a big rushing attack coming back and y'all are going to kill us. Y'all didn't even have 1,000-yard rusher last year. You're right. No. But we did have three 700-yard rushers because we're loaded. So that makes a huge difference. You got C.J. Donaldson, the big man, who's 240 pounds, coming out of the backfield, downhill runner who wears you out. And then we throw Jaheim White in there, who's a speedster, and gets around the edge and just takes off or busts to the middle and takes off. Then you got a scrambling quarterback in Garrett Green, who's probably the best scrambling quarterback in the country, maybe outside of Jalen Daniels, I would think, at Kansas. I think Jalen Daniels is really good. But Garrett Green is a fantastic scrambling quarterback, reads the field really well, doesn't get himself in trouble, doesn't throw stupid passes. He will throw a safe pass, and if the safe pass is not there, he will run. And he averaged 8 or 9 yards a carry last year as a quarterback. So, you're talking about a three-headed monster that's basically, you might as well say, running a wishbone. Even though we don't run a wishbone, you got a three-headed monster that we can line C.J. Donaldson and Jaheim White up in the backfield, and you've got to worry about Garrett Green and where he's going to go, plus he can pass that ball. You got to worry about Jaheim White, who's going to be the speedster. How fast do you guys have to move and get transitions? And then you got C.J. Donaldson, who's the big guy, and all of a sudden now your smaller guys are thinking, well, if they hand him the ball, I don't want to tackle that dude. So
wait a minute. First of all, there's nobody on our defense besides our safeties that are smaller than C.J. Donaldson. Nobody, except our safeties. Not even our linebackers are smaller than him.
What year is the West Virginia hat? I'm interested by it. I'm gonna have to get something like that one of these.
What do you mean?
I was talking the Joey, the West Virginia hat that he's wearing.
Oh, we had a hat sponsor on Golden Blue, dude, and I have several hats. This is just one of them they give me. This one, and then I've got. Hold on. I've got this one as well. I've got one that Timothy Green has coming to him from the chat here one night. And I'm hoping he can come up here and get it because we've been talking about him coming up here because he just lives right up the road from me. So I'm hoping Timothy Green can come and get his hat. But if not, I'll get it in the mail to him. But yeah, this hat. So I got this one, let's see, 2 or 3 years ago from the sponsor. They're pretty nice hats. I like them. What do you like this hat?
Oh, I love it. They look awesome.
Yeah, At one time I had boxes full of them, but I've given them all away. But I could probably send you this one if you want it. If you don't care that I've worn it a couple of times. I don't wear it out. I just wear it here online. If I'm online, I'll throw it on my head or something, Just one of them I leave sitting here on my desk. But it's the only one I got left like this one.
Oh man.
But I've got tons of hats, man. I've always got hats. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I got the little mini helmet collection. That's the SEC Big 10 behind me, but I got the ACC and Big 12 right next to me.
Oh, okay. So you got all the helmets from every team?
I don't. The only ones I don't have are Notre Dame and SMU.
So you got the little mini helmets.
Yep. Yeah, this is kind of based off of what I think the next few years is looking like. But
Yeah.
I am going to switch around Central Florida and West Virginia because I think West Virginia is going to be a lot better than Central Florida because Central Florida plays up and down to their competition quite a lot.
Well, here's the thing about it. I think next year in the Big 12, there's a few teams you got to watch out for. Number one is West Virginia. I think that's going to be the biggest one to watch out for. I'm telling you, West Virginia is going to be really, really good next year. Number two, Texas Tech, because they recruited so well. They were supposed to be really good last year. They fell off a little bit, but then caught it up by the end of the year, and ended up going to bowl game. I think Texas Tech will be really good. Kansas State, you can't count Kansas State out ever, but they're going to be really good. Kansas is going to be really good. I mean, Lance Leipold has that team going like crazy. And you can't never discount Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State. So you've got 5 teams right there that I think would be, if anybody says this team, out of these 5 teams, this one's going to win the Big 12, I would be okay with them saying that. I'd be okay with somebody saying Kansas is going to win the Big 12 or Kansas State or West Virginia or whoever. Now, the teams that are going to be off next year, one of them is UCF. I think UCF is going to finish probably at the bottom of the conference, 11th or 12th. I really do. I think that I think your middle tier conference teams are going to be teams like BYU, Iowa State. Some of those teams. I don't see Houston's going to be horrible. Cincinnati will probably be horrible. UCF just not very good. They just have a lot more to go. They're transitioning into Power 5. And we've seen last year there's a big difference in playing Power 5 football. Cincinnati won 1 game in the Big 12 last year. 1 game. UCF won 1 game, I believe, in the Big 12 last year. 1 game. That's a big difference in coming from a Group of 5 to a Power 5 program or from a Power 5 league. And I think SMU is going to find that out real quick in the ACC this year. Even though I think the ACC is not as good of a conference as the Big 12 is, top to bottom, I still think that they're better than any of those Group of 5 teams. When you get a Group of 5 team coming into a Power 5, I think it's just there's a big difference in it.
Yeah, I'm curious about SMU and see how it all works out for them this year. I just hope
they'll be fine.
I just hope that they can keep their series with TCU going because, I mean, they didn't say anything about SMU TCU series leaving after 2025. They just said it's going to be on a hiatus, at least for right now. I want to see them keep that rivalry going very badly. I hope they do.
Now, I think next year in the ACC, I think the team you've got to watch out for in the ACC next year is Miami. I'm sorry. I like Mario Cristobal, and I think that they've had a culture problem down there, and I think he's got that culture problem fixed. I think he had run into the same thing that Texas was running into when they had some decent coaches. The difference is Miami, because Manny Diaz, I think he had a horrible culture at Miami. Those players just done what they wanted to do. It was disaster. And I think Mario Cristobal had to come in and straighten that team up, get that culture right. And I think he's done it. I really think you have to watch out for Miami this year. I'm not saying they're going to win the ACC, but I think they're going to win about 9 or 10 games.
Miami recruits at the top of the college football world year in and year out. and
They're
they
number 4 in the
still.
transfer portal. They're number 4 in the
I
transfer
know,
portal.
but it's not even just the transfer portal, it's high school. And then year in and then year out, they fail. Year in, year out, they fail.
But that's been the culture problem.
But no, but this goes far beyond the past 2 head coaches. I mean, because even Pitt has beaten Cristobal. Pitt drug Cristobal up and down the field in 2022 on their own field, if you want to call it that. 42 to 16.
2017, right? On Black Friday.
No, it was 2022. We drugged Miami up and down the field 42 to 16.
I know this is a Mountaineers show, chat, but hey, you know what? We just talk college football. This
well,
show is not-
it's related.
Yeah, it is. It is because here's why. Here's why. Let me show you why. West Virginia and Pitt play. West Virginia needs to beef it up, right? So we need Pitt to be successful in the ACC, and we need Penn State to be successful in the Big Ten. Now we know Penn State's a good team. If we can beat Penn State game 1, okay. But you know, if you look down through here at Pitt's football schedule, you don't see a Miami on here, but you do see a Clemson, you see a Louisville, and you see West Virginia. If West Virginia can beat them, and they can turn around and beat, say, Louisville and Clemson both, that would give West Virginia some big ups, and North Carolina as well is on there. So, you know, and you go to North Carolina this year. You get Clemson at home, and you go to Louisville. You know, so but you got with your 4 games, your 4 really hard games. You've got West Virginia at home, and you've got Clemson at home. But you go on the road to North Carolina and Louisville.
Well, I mean, the thing about Clemson is outside of Florida State, one, we're the only team to win the conference in the past 10 years, and 2, outside of Florida State, we're the only team to have a winning record over Clemson. Actually, we won the last 2 games over Clemson, and the last game was at Heinz Field. Now,
2021.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how Clemson is this year. I know they got Klubnik, and I honestly do believe Klubnik is slightly overrated. I don't think he's anywhere near as good as people want to put him out there to be. I just don't, because it seems like whenever Klubnik gets into big game situations or he gets under a lot of pressure, he does what a lot of quarterbacks do. He panics.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's as good. Now, Clemson's defense, however, to be honest, is the only reason why they won as many games as they did last year.
Well, and something I've noticed about Pitt under Pat Narduzzi is, you know, Pittsburgh is where top 25 teams go to die. I mean, Louisville learned that last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Louisville learned that last year. I know for a fact we beat a ranked team in 2022. I just cannot remember exactly who it was. Because Pat Narduzzi has beaten a ranked team every single year since he has been our head coach.
So Sorgy Story says Penn State has an interesting situation, not as good as Ohio State and Michigan, and the Wisconsin and Nebraska teams are rising in the Big Ten. They're good, but just not good enough to make a lot of noise. Here's what I think, Sorgy Stories. Obviously Big Ten is going to do away with divisions. Washington, Oregon coming in there. I haven't looked at Penn State's schedule. I have no idea.
I haven't either.
But let's just say this: if Penn State, if Washington and Oregon come in and play a Big Ten West schedule, there's nobody in the Big Ten West that can beat Washington or Oregon, either one. Even with Washington having a new coach in Jed Fish, I think Washington will beat everybody they play. Now, if they've got to put in some of those teams out of the East, like if they had to play in Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, even Maryland. Maryland was pretty good last year, coming on strong. They could start riding the struggle bus in the Big Ten. But I think that I think Penn State is a good enough team year in and year out to say that they're always a contender. I don't think Penn State's a pretender. I think a lot of people say that. I don't think Penn State's a pretender in the Big Ten at all. I think they're a pretty good team. Now, obviously, they can't get by Ohio State and Michigan, obviously, but
See, that's what
not
makes
many
me
teams
think they're a
can.
pretender.
Well, not many teams can. So
Oh, I know. But James Franklin, how long has he been at Penn State?
Since
10 years?
2014.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, 10 years. And he's beaten Ohio State once?
He did
2016.
such
That
a
was
he
my
done
blocked
such
field goal.
he done such a good job at Vanderbilt. But I mean, you look at it and think, well, okay, yeah, he did a good job at Vanderbilt, but so did Neil Brown at Troy. Neil Brown did a great job at Troy. So it's just I guess there's a difference in coaching. So now he's coaching a Big Ten team, and they played in the East. Now going away with divisions that might help Penn State. That may actually help them. They may not play Ohio State and Michigan some years.
See,
Well,
that's
yeah,
what I said about Pitt. Whenever the Coastal and the Atlantic went away in the ACC, a lot of people were like, "Well, now that's gone. You guys will never get back to the ACC championship." And I'm like, "No, that may make our path just a little bit easier, just a little bit, not a lot, a little bit."
well, and I
So
looked at Penn State's schedule. They don't have Michigan, but Ohio State does come to their backyard on November 2nd. I know that Washington's coming to Beaver Stadium on November 9th.
okay.
They do have to go to Wisconsin and USC. And the question is, as it's always been for the past several years for Penn State, can they win the big game? Evidence
Well,
says no.
that's it. Yeah, because last year I had Penn State winning the Big Ten. I had them in the playoffs preseason. That's what I picked them. I picked them to finish with a win in the Big Ten, with beating Ohio State, beating Michigan, and winning the Big Ten. I really thought last year was the best year for Penn State to have that opportunity. I know Story's out here in the chat saying he thinks it's this year. I don't think so. I think Penn State had their chance. They lost it. I don't think they've got a chance now to win the Big Ten. I think next year, Big Ten, it's going to be up in the air between Ohio State and maybe Oregon.
Yeah, for right now, I'm kind of just picking and choosing between Penn State and Washington and the mini helmets behind me. Because I don't know where Washington's going with Jed Fish, but I got a feeling it's going to be a pretty good path. But I'll definitely be rearranging the mini helmets like every 3 months, every
Right,
6.
but you got to give Washington a year. You got to give Jed Fish a year to get things changed up, right? I don't see them coming in and being a dominant team like they have been.
No.
Although they're going to be good. They're not going to fall off. They're not going to fall out. They're going to win 8, 9, 10 games. But I still think that they're not going to be playing for a Big Ten championship year one under Jed Fish.
Well, yeah.
I don't.
Well,
see
that depends because I mean, last year I know this team didn't do well, but they were on my top 5 of most surprising college football teams, and that was Rutgers. Rutgers beat Miami in a bowl game.
Well, Greg Schiano, last time he was at Rutgers, he did a good job and put Rutgers on the map. He recruited a guy by the name of Ray Rice, if everybody remembers him, and Rutgers was pretty damn good back then. And with Greg Schiano back in there, hey, they look pretty good. Rutgers is not going to be able to compete with a Penn State and Ohio State.
Oh, no. That's not what I meant.
They can compete with the Marylands and the Wisconsins and the Minnesotas and those teams.
I
just think Rutgers and Pitt are in the same situation. Not a lot. Well, we have a lot of NIL money, and they probably do as well because New Jersey, that's not a poor area. There's a lot of football coming out of New Jersey, especially high school kids or even just coaches, period. I think our new offensive coordinator's from New Jersey.
Speaking of NIL
actually.
money, and I'm glad you brought that up, Talk is Pitt. So I've been in contact with Joe Manchin, with his office and stuff, and I'll be doing an interview here in the next couple of weeks with Joe Manchin. Joe's been a friend of my family for a long time, and I'm a Republican, but that's okay. We're going to talk about NIL. So I'm going to be doing an interview with Joe Manchin, and we're going to talk NIL and these bills that are in the House and in the Senate right now, that to see what he thinks can be passed and see what he thinks can be done about NIL, and to help the sport. And so anybody that is a member of the Patreon page for Mark Rogers, that means you also on Discord, and you can send me a message on Discord. And give me your question, and I may use it to ask Joe. So I'm letting everybody. This is going to be a viewer submitted question and answer for Joe Manchin. So as soon as that gets scheduled, I'll let you know. He's looking forward to it and stuff, but we have to get our schedules coordinated and stuff. And I won't have forever with him, obviously, but I might have about 30 minutes. And so if you have a question, send me a message, a private DM on Discord or on Patreon through Mark Rogers Patreon. If you're not a member of Mark Rogers Patreon, I encourage you to join it and get a link to our Discord channel. We talk college football 24/7 over there. And people like Jackson Johnson is in there and talks some college football as well. And you've got your own Discord, don't you, Jackson? You're Jacksonian.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, the Jacksonian. Now, you don't have to be a member of your channel or Patreon to be in your Discord, though, right?
Not at the moment. I'm still kind of adding some stuff here and there.
Right. So, but yeah, so
Jackson, you're a Bama fan, right?
Yep.
One, thank you for Eli Holstein. He transferred from Bama to Pitt. He won't be the starter this year.
The fallout this year of coaches, top programs, right? Alabama lost their coach, top program in the country. Yeah. Washington lost their coach, one of the top programs in the country. Arizona lost their coach. This year was one of the better programs in the country. Michigan has lost their coach, the best team in the country this past year. There's going to be a lot of these blue bloods and a lot of these programs that were really good this past year that are going to slip a notch or two this year. And this is a wide open race this year for teams like West Virginia, for teams like Pitt, to get in the playoff and actually do something.
Agreed. I even said that to what's his name? Twisted Rooster. I said to him a few weeks ago, and I said that with all these quote unquote blue bloods, we're not even going to use that term. Let's just use teams who have been good within the past 10 years. Teams that have consistently won their conference and or national championship. Or let's even say teams who have consistently made it to the playoffs. Teams like that, they're going to take a step back a notch or two. And like you said, Joey, teams like West Virginia and Pitt, it's now more wide open, especially with the 12-team playoff expansion, for us to get back to relevancy. Even you guys, Joey. Now, here's the thing. In order for West Virginia, and this is coming from a Pitt fan, if you guys want to be taken seriously and stop being laughed at, because that's basically what goes on year in and year out, one, you guys have to win your conference. You have to win the Big 12. And it's not even just the Big 12 you guys have to win. You guys have to. You have to win a national title at some point. Because it's ridiculous it's ridiculous that you guys are the most winningest college football program in history without a national title.
Right. I know it.
You have to. And I even said the same thing about Pitt.
Now, in all honesty, though, we're not like UCF and a lot of other teams, including Blue Bloods, that have claimed national titles. We haven't claimed national titles, even when we could. 1922, we could claim a national title. We were undefeated. 1927 and 33, I think we were undefeated. We could claim national titles those years. We don't claim national titles like other teams do. So I'm really excited that that West Virginia does not do that, and that we're proud of the fact that we are the winningest program in college football to have never won a national title. That being said, we want one. We want one. We're going to win one. And I'm not saying this is the year it's going to happen, but this is a year that you better watch out for West Virginia this year.
Oh, you have to win it this year.
We have got an absolute monster of a team coming back, and it's so underrated, just like it was last year. And I love that. We love being the underdog. Talk about us all you want to. Sit there and say West Virginia is not going to do good this year. They're going to be lucky if they win 6 games. We want that. We want you to vote us 14th in the conference again. We want you to vote us down at the bottom. More than anything, ask Frank Fear, who just came in the chat with us. I appreciate you being here, Frank. We want that at West Virginia. We love being the underdog, because when we're the underdog, look what happens. 2006, Sugar Bowl, Georgia, playing Georgia, the SEC champions. We were underdogs, big-time underdogs. It was 28-0 after the first quarter, West Virginia. We won the game. In 2008, Oklahoma, every state in the country was red except for West Virginia. We were blue, and we won the game 48-27 or 28. I can't remember the score. I love it. Clemson, 2012. Clemson, everybody in the country, every state was orange. The whole country was covered in orange. West Virginia's going to lose this game by 2 to 3 scores. What was the final score, guys? 70-33. Could have been 100-33. We love being the underdog. This year, go ahead and make us an underdog again, so we can show you.
How do you think we feel, Joey? I mean, how do you think Pitt feels after the season we had last year, which we never want to see again, and then Pat Narduzzi fired the entire offensive coaching staff? How do you think we feel? We felt we were better than what our record indicated, because if you look at all those games, minus the exception of a couple, we didn't really get blown out. We hung in there. Now, granted, you could say whatever you want about the level of competition that Pitt played, but also at the same time, we played lower than most of the level of competition we played, and we still managed to, I don't want to say look horrible, because we looked horrible last year. Even I laughed at it. But we have always been the underdog. Always. I mean, we've been the underdog against you guys a couple of times in history. We've been the underdog against Clemson. Every time we beaten Georgia back in the 80s, we were picked to lose. More recently, Tennessee, we beat them whenever we started playing them again.
2021.
Miami twice. Miami twice.
But then you go and you lose stupid games like to who was it? The Tennessee team that you lost to? Middle Tennessee State, wasn't it?
Oh, we didn't lose to Middle. Miami lost to Middle Tennessee.
No.
It was Western Michigan.
Y'all beat West Virginia, and then turn around and play Tennessee, Western Michigan. That's who it was. Y'all turn around.
No, we lost to Western Michigan in 2021.
I mean, I don't know how Pitt does that. I can't figure it
out.
Well,
that was 2 years ago. That was 2 or 3 years ago. We beat the crap out of Western Michigan the year after that when we played them, when we went up to Kalamazoo.
Do yourself a favor and go back and look at the last time West Virginia lost to a Group of 5 or a Division II or Division III team. Take a look at it. Tell me.
Are you talking about D2 teams then or D2 teams now?
Even now, we even now, look at like the Youngstown States, things like that.
That was 2012.
See what you think. West Virginia don't lose to teams like that. We don't. We do not lose to teams like that.
Well, that's true, Joey. But the thing, look, the only reason why I haven't started screaming is because I have a different level of respect for you than what most West Virginia fans. But I'm going to be frank. You're talking out of your butt. You guys are not
Well,
going to
y'all-
roll
y-
all over us. It's
We
not
will.
going to happen. It didn't
this
happen
year
last
we
year.
will. I would not say that normally, and you know that. I bought and
Well,
2 years
see,
ago I said
Joey,
it's going to be a
but you
great game.
have.
Last year
You
I said it's
have.
going to be a great game.
You absolutely 100% have. You said that in 2022. You said
No, I said
you
we gonna
and
be good.
God rest his soul. God rest his soul. Gold and Blue Dude both said that West Virginia would win by double digits. You
No,
lost.
no, we did not.
Yeah,
we
no,
didn't.
gold
Because we
and
talked
blue
about
dude.
how close the game was going to be. That it was
No,
going to be a
gold and
great
blue
game.
dude. If you go back and look, gold and blue dude said, "I am confident," and that's how he says it too.
Yeah,
I am
confident we'll
confident that West Virginia can beat Pitt by double digits. He expected a 10 to 14 point victory, and you guys lost. Now,
I
last
just
year,
think
you
that
guys did beat
this
us.
year's different. This year
Yeah,
is just so
well, see,
different.
here's the thing.
I just don't see you guys being able to keep up with us. I'm not saying
Based
we're
off
going to. I'm not
of
saying
based
we're going to
off
blow
of
you
what?
out. I'm not saying we're
Based
going to
off
blow
of
you out.
what? Based off of what?
Based off our running game and our time of possession. Do you realize last
Okay,
year we
but
averaged
that's just
35
your
minutes?
offense.
We
That's
averaged
just your
moving the
offense.
ball.
What about your defense? What about your
What about it?
defense?
What
You don't
about it?
have the playmakers on defense you had last year. And even that Ohio State linebacker you guys brought in, I looked up his stats before this game. He has three tackles accredited to his name. One solo tackle. One.
Yeah, but he didn't get on the field that much. He didn't get on the field that much either.
Well, he was there for 3 years. So, I mean, he was at Ohio State for 3 years. So,
And who knows, he may not even start for us.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because you guys took a big hit in the linebacker aspect of your team. Now, whether that's people who have never seen the field, or people who have barely seen the field, or people who've seen the field constantly.
Yeah, we that was it. Most of these players that you're seeing in the transfer portal never seen the field.
Well, I mean, it's depth. You guys are losing depth.
99% of them never seen the
No,
field.
yeah. You guys lost one of your linemen. You lost your linebacker. Actually, you lost two of your linebackers, and then you lost Beanie Bishop.
Right, but
so I mean, there goes half your defense.
We've hit the transfer portal pretty hard on defense and gotten some really good players.
Yeah.
Now, can they gel? Can they gel and fit in at West Virginia? Who knows? That's yet to be seen. Problem is, I just think that our offense is so good, especially running the ball, that we will control the clock. And like last year, we averaged 35, nearly almost 35 minutes a game with the ball. Out of a 60-minute game, we had the ball like 35 minutes of it because our running game is so good. And that means that teams aren't getting the ball very often. And when they do, they better score, because if they don't, we're just driving it right down your throat and going down there, maybe just kicking a field goal. Maybe we don't beat you glamorously, but we beat you like a drum. We drug BYU up and down the field. Anybody watch that game? BYU absolutely got drugged up and down the field. Probably the biggest defensive line we faced all year and stuff, and we just drugged them all up and down the field. UCF the same way. You're talking about UCF a while ago, Jackson Johnson, and saying UCF, you have them finishing ahead of West Virginia. We just drugged them up and down the field. It wasn't even a game. It wasn't even a game. It was boring. It was so boring I turned it off at halftime. I really did. It wasn't even a game. So you're thinking about that. I do not see this year Pitt being able to keep up with West Virginia. I'm not saying we'll blow you away. What I'm saying is, if we go down and we score 7, then we go and kick a field goal and we're ahead 10-0, and then maybe you come back and kick a field goal and it's 10-3, but then we kick another field goal and it's 13-3, and you're just playing catch up the whole game, and we end up beating you by 10 points.
Look, you may beat us. It's too early to sit here and say West Virginia's going to win based off of this. Pitt's going to win based off of that. I won't give my definitive prediction until somewhere around July. However, if you were to ask me right now, if if I had to pick a clear-cut winner based off of the results of last year, based off of the fact that we brought in more talent via portal and high school, we brought in coaches who have been proven competent enough to call smart plays. I mean, look, FCS is FCS. Call it what you want it. But when you're able to bring the offensive coordinator in who ran the number one FCS offense in the entire country last year, that still says something. That still says something. You know, FCS, call it whatever you want, but it's still difficult to rank number one in any level of sport. I don't care what it is, D1, D2, D3, basketball, football, baseball, golf, well, except golf. Nobody cares about golf. But you get what I'm saying. You know, it's not like, you know, we brought in dinosaurs like we've had for the past 20 years, and that's been our problem. Dinosaurs. So now, Joey, you guys are facing younger, experienced. Well, I don't even want to say younger, because just like you guys, we brought everybody back except one. We only lost one person on the offensive side of the ball.
Games did you win? Hey, Jordan, how many games did you win last year?
3.
You were 3-9. 3-9, all right? And you're bringing everybody back, and you say, hey, we're just as good as
well. That's I wasn't finished.
No, wait a minute. Off of a 3-win team in the ACC, a weakened ACC, that was horrible. You're bringing a 3-win team back and saying you're going to beat a 9-win team from last year in West Virginia, who finished 4th in the Big 12, and the Big 12 was a hell of a lot better than the ACC was last year.
Joe, you realize how hypocritical that sounds, right?
I don't care. Our top 8 teams in the Big 12 could have been.
No. You realize how hypocritical that sounds, because just 2 years ago we were in the same exact situation you guys were. The only difference is we actually beat a team at full strength in our bowl game.
I don't care about full strength in a bowl game when all you ACC fans were saying before that game, hey, North Carolina's second string is better than West Virginia's for starters.
There is not one ACC fan that I talked to that picked North Carolina to win that game.
Well, I can tell you right now, you need to go back and watch a lot of the pre-games from North Carolina, Clemson fans.
Yeah, but are you even sure they're ACC fans? Are you even sure they're ACC fans? Hell, they could be fans.
I'm talking about Tar Heels Today and Tar Heels Now and Tar Heels Sports Network.
Look, that's North Carolina. That's North Carolina. What do you expect them to do? Sit there and say, yeah, we're going to lose?
Yeah, they should have, because they knew they
But, I mean, as far as if you're talking about anybody else outside of North Carolina, there's not one ACC fan that picked the UNC to win that game.
Here's the thing about a college football analyst. And a person that knows what you're talking about. Going into Penn State last year, I said, we don't have a chance to win this game. We will lose this game. We will lose this game by at least 17, maybe more. And we did, right? I don't have a problem saying that. This year, going into that game, this is going to be a really good game this year between West Virginia and Penn State. I think West Virginia might have the edge on Penn State this year, mainly because of speed and because of the gel and the connection that the offense has together and can control the ball. I think we might have a leg up on Penn State this year, but it's still going to be a great game. It's still going to come down to the wire. But the Pitt game is not going to come down to the wire. West Virginia will dominate Pitt this year. There's no doubt in my mind.
West Virginia is not dominant. Look, you can sit there and say you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and until you actually do it, it's mute. It doesn't really mean anything.
I agree.
Because look, here's the thing. There's been countless times in the past 30 years, even in the past 30 years, where you guys have always had the better talent, and you lost. So, I mean,
you guys, you know what your problem is as Pitt fans, not you, Jordan, not you, but Pitt fans. They live in the past. All they talk about is 2007. Oh, y'all were the much better team. Y'all were 24-point favorites. Who won that game? We beat you. Therefore, y'all can't never beat us.
You know why we still bring that up, Joey? It's because you let it bother you. That's why.
Don't bother me. It don't bother
Oh,
me.
it definitely. See, it may not. It may not bother you. It may not bother you. But trust me, I can go on Twitter, type in hashtag 13-9, and I guarantee you there's going to be boomers and whoever else was alive that was old enough to remember that game that will tell you that loss still stings. Matter of fact, it happened right before this live stream. Somebody on Facebook, actually, on MountaineerNow.com Facebook page.
You would make my point. You would make my point if you went into Twitter right now and you typed in 13-9. You would make my point that you guys live in the past. Who the hell cares?
Well,
about
see,
that?
no, Joey, we live in the past because it still bothers you. You know, it's a rivalry. We're going to bring up everything we possibly can to annoy you.
You know what bothers me more? Let me tell you what bothers me more. It bothers me more that we lost to Alabama in 2014, game 1 in the kickoff classic, Chick-fil-A kickoff classic, because I felt like we had a team that year that could have beaten Alabama, and we let it slip. It was a great game. I'm sure Jackson.
I don't know how that loss bothers me more.
That game bothers me more than a Pitt game ever will.
How? That was your last shot at relevancy. That was your last shot at a national title since then.
No, that's
and
not true.
Ruined it.
We were in the national title. We were in national title talks pretty much all of 2018, 2017 as well for quite a while. We're fine as a program. We still get mentioned a lot. We're still a top 25 program. You know, we had a few bad years. We still went to 3 bowl games in those bad years. So, you know, I mean, it's not that we're a bottom dweller or a garbage can program. We are back as far as West Virginia is concerned. We're back. And when I say back, I don't mean Alabama back or Georgia back, obviously. I mean, we're back to where we're going to win 10, 11 games a year, 9, 10, 11 games a year. And this year is no exception. I just do not feel like there's anybody on our schedule that can beat us other than Penn State, and I think we take down Penn State. So
see, here's the thing. That's the problem, Joey, is I'm trying to not see the homer in you, but right now that's all you're giving off of is homer vibes.
I'm not being a homer.
That's it. Exactly. Hell, I didn't even pick Pitt to win last year. Matter of fact, I picked you guys to beat us 40-14, and you guys didn't even score 20 on us.
When you look at this year's though, I'm serious. When you finally get to sit down and you look at who we've got returning and the production we have coming back on offense and how we controlled the ball last year and everything. When you look at that,
okay. I've heard enough about who you guys have brought in and who you guys have returning. Do you even know the slightest clue who we have returning and who we brought in? Anybody?
I know you have a really good quarterback coming in. Here's the problem. He's coming in. It's his first year at Pitt.
No, it's not. Eli Holstein's not our starting quarterback.
Oh,
Nate Yarnell is. No. The reason why we're going with Nate Yarnell as the starting quarterback is because it's his last year. Eli has 4 years.
Okay.
So we're molding him for the future.
So he's already named the starter. He's already named the starter before spring ball, before any practice.
It would have been obvious who the starter was, even if Pat Narduzzi didn't come out and name it. It would have been obvious. It would have been obvious it was Nate Yarnell. It was Nate Yarnell the last 3 games, and we lost only one of those games. So,
listen, we do have to get off here. We're running about 20 minutes over here, but I've got another show I got to get to here in the next little bit. But hey, Jordan, I love you, man. You know that. You're my favorite Pitt fan. We talk all the time. We're good friends. I appreciate you coming on the show with me tonight. And we're going to continue this conversation. This won't be the only time we have this
Oh no, they'd be like 100 times from here on.
Oh yeah, Jackson, man. Tell everybody once again where to find you at. I know you're over at the Jacksonian, but what about your YouTube channel?
They can find me on Jackson Johnson 979. They can find me on Twitter at Jackson09960335. They can find me on Instagram and Threads at Jackson Johnson 543908.
All right, great, man. And talk us Pitt. Tell us about your channel, man. Tell us what you got going on over there.
So tomorrow, one video will be coming out, definitely, maybe two. You can go find me at Talk is Pitt on YouTube, Talk is Pitt on Twitter, and also Talk is Pitt on Instagram, even though I'm never on Instagram. You can find me there. You could also get a hold of Joey if you can't get a hold of me, because he has my personal phone number. And he's always welcome to call me unless I'm sleeping. But before I do go, Joey, before I do go, half of the players Pitt lost in the portal, we got back. So that should help us being able to beat you guys. Not saying it's going to happen. To be honest, even in July,
let's make a date. Let's just go ahead and plan on coming back after spring ball and talking about every player that you got back, every player we got back, and let's look at the matchups and see what we can find out.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Because honestly, an hour and a half, it's not enough time to do all that.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. But
we do appreciate everybody that came in tonight. We love all you guys. Be sure you get that like button on your way out of here. If you're watching this video at a later time, be sure you hit that like button for us. It really does help. It doesn't stroke our ego one bit, but YouTube sure does have a big ego and loves that like button to be hit. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. Monday night, we will be back with the Big 12 Fan Zone with me and Shane. See everybody Monday night at 8 o'clock. Everyone have a great night.